Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pardon me for yelling over that music that was shamefully low. Hey, Bell's back, everybody. I only did that for my enjoyment of how I knew that Mac Maury behind Bell's shoulder would react when I said what I said about Bell. Is everything okay in there, Kay? You all right? Everything go good? All good with you? Are you just choosing not to participate in the show in any form or fashion, verbally or otherwise? You've
got a handle on it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, Cameron Smith is here of the Tennessee, and he writes for those guys over there, and he makes it a weekly appearance at least.
Yeah, I showed up a little late today.
That's we forgive you.
Yeah, my mom was like, I expect you to be on at 2:00. I'm like, well.
Was your mama giving you the business?
She was.
Good. All right. Thank you, Mama Smith, for listening.
Yes.
God bless you. Love you.
I
got all the mamas. I got Mama Smith listening. I got Mama Maury listening.
Yeah.
I love it. What's going on in your world?
Oh, she guilted me. She's like, well, I just want to hear the sound of my son's voice. It's been a minute, so I'm going to listen to the radio. I'm like, okay.
She has to listen on the radio.
I called her on the way over here. I was like, well, you're point taken, Mama.
That's pretty bad.
No, I
have to listen to my precious angel. I have to listen to him on the radio.
Yeah, it was glorious. Yeah, not much going on other than all of it. I mean, we got this lovely trial happening, written about. I had a Memorial Day piece out. Just a reminder of, hey, there are people that thought this country was worth their lives. We should probably live like it.
Did you see the two knuckleheads, Talib and Omar?
They didn't understand.
They didn't understand the principal purpose. I mean, they were like, well, on this Memorial Day, let's remember that many of our veterans don't have health care, and many of our veterans, like, lady, this is not Veterans Day. That's Veterans Day.
Yeah,
that's in November. This is Memorial Day. These are the people that died.
Health care is not real useful there.
Not really going to help those that died for our country. And they deleted the post. No apology, no whatever. I want to ask you this. Because I saw something online that there are a number of sitting Congress people that have reportedly have dual citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
Neither do I.
I think if you want to serve in an honest and earnest capacity as a representative of a portion of the citizenship of the United States of America, you should be solely beholden to the United States of America. And you should I don't know how much this is happening, but I was shocked to find out that there are sitting congressmen that have dual citizenship.
Did you ever get that list? I saw that you asked for it.
I did not. I have not. I've not looked online if someone has sent me any of that.
I don't know of anybody off the top of my head, but for me, I agree with you that it's fine if you want to be a dual citizen.
Sure.
But if you want to be in a representative capacity, you might want to have fealty to one or the other.
Right.
Yeah, how do you, I'm representing this nation, also a citizen of not this nation.
American interest, Somalian. American, or whatever.
Or whatever. It could be British. It does not matter to me. It's just, I agree. That to me would be an amendment I would support to the Constitution, because I think that is the dual citizenship. I've never understood. It's a divided interest.
Right.
And
once again, that's fine. I mean, as America, we decide as a society if we're going to allow that, and we allow,
sure.
Where we have certain alliances, we allow those to remain. But yeah, if you're a representative, you don't need to have an official allegiance with any other country except the United States of America. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
I think that's fair. Well, what do you make of, speaking of Trump trial, we're now almost 4 hours into deliberations, and attorneys are preparing to address a jury note with 4 requests for testimony to be read back. Ooh, it's very exciting. They got a jury note. I mean, the media outlets that are breathlessly covering this all day long, as if nothing else is going on in the world, they're very excited about these jury notes.
This trial, more than anything else in modern media, has helped me realize the narrative is cooked. Even for people like you and me. We're talking about what other people want to talk about. Well, at some level, the news empire, as it were, says this is what we shall talk about. I don't want to talk about Donald Trump's trial every day. And this has been a breathless, wild ride through a weak case. And yes, I understand the historic nature. I understand all the big deal, yay. But this was a weak case to start with. It's a weak case to finish. And if I'm on this jury, I'm still confused.
Well, you've studied the law.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what you did.
Mm-hmm.
It's where you went to, let me see if I can remember. William and Mary?
Yeah, pretty close.
Washington and Lee?
That was my undergrad, Alabama law. I know that it hurts you to say University of Alabama School of Law.
I couldn't remember the undergrad. Is it Washington and Lee?
It's Washington and Lee.
Okay, not William and Mary.
No, different school. I looked at both schools.
Different people. Did you look at William and Mary?
Yes, I did.
You just wanted to go where the schools were named after two people?
I wanted to go where I could fly fish, and so I did.
Not a lot of fly fishing in Tuscaloosa?
No. Yeah, you can. You don't know if you want to eat it, but you can.
So, you back to the point. You understand the law. Have you? I mean, I've talked to multiple lawyers about this. The idea, and I understand all of this gets prepared on appeal, and I understand that the prosecution doesn't seem to care.
Right.
But the fact that the prosecution never once clarified what the linkage to create the felony was, and the judge did it in his instructions to the jury. Like, I thought the judge was there to call balls and strikes and not to play favorites. The judge is almost, in a sense, to me, repairing the failures of the prosecution's case in his charge to the jury.
This is sort of to me like John Roberts in the Obamacare case, where he reimagined it. It was like, well, no, the thing you argued is not the thing. Actually, here's the thing, and here's why we're going to uphold this law.
Didn't he say that? I know they said tax, but I think let's just pretend they meant fine.
Right.
And move forward.
Very much just sort of, yay, just reimagined. And I think the judge here is sort of like, well, I'm going to try to save some face here and help this make some sense. But here's the problem. This is, and I hate to say it, it's just political.
Yeah.
I mean, it was politically driven. This is a case that's bootstrapped. If Trump, like every other politician, had just paid off these women out of his own checking account, there's no case.
I think based on the manner in which the judge has charged the jury, I'm beginning to believe, and this is just my gut, could be completely, totally wrong. This is just my gut talking to me, that all of this boils down to how neutral or anti-Trump the two lawyers in that jury room are. And the reason I say this is because if they are two fair-minded lawyers and they understand the law, they're going to encourage the jury to go one direction. If they are two attorneys that are very anti-Trump, I could easily see a situation where they're convincing the rest of those jurors, hey, we understand the law, and they will nitpick and move around the very problematic nature of the case in order to convince the rest of the people, hey, we can go with guilty here.
And I would hope, as officers of the court, as folks that are charged, when you're a licensed attorney, you have a responsibility to the law itself, your clients, but also to the law itself. Mm-hmm. Because if we don't trust this system, the whole thing falls apart. And so, you know this, I think Trump's a weirdo on a lot of fronts. In this case, I would absolutely tell folks, if I'm in that jury room, guys, we got to acquit this guy, because this is trying to bootstrap a misdemeanor into a felony based on a fraud that didn't actually defraud anyone.
And giving them choices in the instruction process is like, hey, I know that you need to know what creates the felony here. And so here's what you can pick from. New York State tax violation, although there's no accusation that he didn't pay his taxes, but by misreport, somehow that carries over. Or you could go with federal election charges, which is not under the jurisdiction of state court, but whatever. Or you could go with state conspiracy to commit election fraud, despite the fact that there's no secondary individual to commit the conspiracy because Donald Trump's the only one on trial. But all that, you just pick from one of those, and y'all don't have to agree on any of that. You like, 4 of you guys can pick number 1, and 4 of you guys can pick number 2, and 4 of you guys can pick number. He's still guilty, everybody. I mean, that's what the judge said this morning. He didn't use the same emphasis that I'm using, but I mean, that's what he said this morning.
Well, the thing with Trump on this is, this all started because he had some kind of relation. Well, I won't even say that.
Wait, hold your thought. You got to hold your thought, because I just let it out. Hold Cameron's thought in a moment, right after the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 2:32 on Super Talk. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There we go. It's 2:39. In about 12, 13, 14 minutes or so, we'll check in with Brian Wilson, see what's coming up this afternoon. The jury is asking to be read testimony from David Pecker and Michael Cohen as they continue to deliberate 4 hours in on Trump trial. We'll continue to watch that, monitor for you, and let you know if anything comes out of it. Cameron Smith is with us. He writes for the TennesseeandAL.com, amongst other publications, and you hear him weekly on Super Talk 99.7 WTN and the Matt Murphy Show, and anytime I'm absent.
Yeah.
We're good on June 10th, right? Are we good?
Yes. Well,
okay, good.
Since Dan was like June 10th, we're good, right? And I'm like, well, sure, yeah. So I put it on my calendar. We're good.
Well, I told him that I was handling it.
Okay.
Because I have a wedding on the 9th and I have to be at. Anyway, so
That's
we're
fair.
good. I'm good. I just wanted to call you out.
I'm here for your people.
Speaking of calling you out.
Oh, this should be good.
Your mama using some salty language.
She did.
Tell everyone what your mother said to you, so back up.
Mom's listening. She hears me on the air talking about, her guilting me into, checking in with her, which I should. I should be a good son.
She's like, I get to hear your voice on that show.
She hears it. And my mom, Karen, I'll say her name. She's Karen. Mm-hmm. She knows everybody. So people hear her and then they hear me talking, then they call her and they're like, here's what he said. And so my mom, she called me, you turkey. I was referred to as a turkey.
You got called a turkey.
I did. I showed you
that. Really got out of hand fast.
I think it did.
It got wild.
So, but you showed me the text.
I did.
It was in all caps.
All caps.
And I feel like, and I, to my knowledge, I don't think I've met your mom. I'd love to.
You may have met her. I don't know.
Well, one way or the other, I feel like she said, you turkey.
Yeah, she did. Just like that.
Love that.
My mom makes up
Yikes.
Turkey is obviously a word we know. My mom also makes up words that, for example, small gifts of appreciation she refers to as happies. So sometimes she'll just get you a happy.
I just got you happy.
Yeah, just a little happy.
That's
so
sweet.
She's you don't mess with Killer K. She gets it done.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
My grandpa used to make up words too.
Yeah.
They were not nearly as
my mother-in-law.
terrible.
My mother-in-law, no joke. What do you call that Italian ham that, it's real thin slice, starts with a P?
Pepperoni.
Well,
no.
Prosciutto.
Prosciutto? I see. I'm not the guy because I screw that one up.
She calls it prosciutto. She just stops.
Prosciutto.
There's an O. Prosciutto.
Yeah, there's an O.
Yes,
There's
very
definitely
Italian.
an O.
She calls it prosciutto.
My grandfather would get upset if we heard curse words unless he was saying them when I was a kid. But I learned how to curse from my grandfather.
Right.
I mean, he taught me the fine art of dog cussing a bulldozer or a tractor or whatever. But it was only until I got into my teenage years, like teenage and beyond, that he stopped. He started diverting, and he would say words like hammer instead of the curse. And I was like, why is it? And then I thought, my grandpa is older now, and he's worried about having to face the Lord. It's like I completely believe that he diverted away from the curses. Like, well, I got to kind of make amends.
Yeah, I've always wondered when I, face Jesus, whether he's going to be like, I got this list of profane things you said.
Uh-oh.
I don't.
And we got a lot of time.
If that's what we're focused on, I don't know.
It's going to be a long line.
There's a lot of Southern stuff that comes out of the Bible in First Hesitations, where it's, thou shalt not use the F-bomb on Sunday, but on Thursday it's fine.
Well, I actually was having a discussion with an online troll because you know me. I get a little brown water in me, and I go right after the trolls on social media.
As you do.
Sure. And by the way, kids, remember, buzzed tweeting is drunk tweeting. So I engaged these folks, and we got to some point, and I am clear. My cursing is a vice. I know that it is. I probably should be better, but I'm not. And I say on social media, been known to cuss. It says it right there in my bio, right up front. You're going to maybe see a curse word or two if you're following me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm having this back and forth, and I say the S-bomb to this person, and they're like, well, I didn't realize that you were anti the Lord. And I'm like, and they said that it was, and is the S-bomb, like, against God?
I don't think so.
I don't think it is either.
Well, Jesus said he spoke Hebrew, so he was just rolling with whatever.
I mean,
it's probably lost in translation.
I mean, I understand that there are certain words that are clearly defined in the Bible as being anti our Lord, particularly taking the Lord's name in vain,
sure.
Obviously. But most other curses are societal in nature, right? They're just cultural places that
when
we don't go.
When Jesus was throwing out the tax collectors from the temple, I'm sure he was, get it out of here. Get it. But he said it in a different language. And right. So somebody long time ago translated that in English, and they just wrote down stuff. Get it out of here. Stuff.
Get your poop.
Yes. I mean,
by the way, we have a lot of people calling you a jive turkey on the Members Nutrition Super Text line.
Not quite that old.
I would give,
and they're all your mother.
I would give a large donation to a charity of Karen's choosing if she would call the radio show and call her son a jive turkey on the radio.
No.
I would do that. I would do it. Please, Karen, give a call.
No.
Please. I mean, look, I'm looking at Cameron. I think I've got him blushing a little bit.
No, my mom. Get my dad on here. Dad has lots of thought about political things. Mom can keep it in the middle of the road. I don't know about Dad. Dad gets wild.
Speaking of wild, so I made the reference to the Samuel Alito case. It's a story that I've been wanting to cover for some time, and a caller brought it up. And I go back to my theories about liberals and dealing with liberals in a political world. And two things that you can count on with leftists is that they think you're dumb. They think anyone that disagrees with them is either too racist or dumb to understand their point of view. And if you were a little less dumb or a little less racist, you would understand their point of view.
Sure.
And number two, by extension, they tend to, if they think they have a winning hand, overplay it. And for some reason, they thought they had a winning plan or hand with the Clarence Thomas gift thing. And, you can say what you will. If you think it looks bad, whatever. But there's nothing illegal or impermissible about what Clarence Thomas did. And then they move on to Samuel Alito, which, the Clarence Thomas piece, that's one thing. Hey, there's some questions about him receiving gifts. Now we get into the arena of overplaying our hand, which illustrates to me that it was never about Clarence Thomas. It's always about the conservative court and how they hate the court. They're going after Alito for this flag thing.
I don't get it. So this
they
to me,
get to define what's okay and what's not okay now?
I've got a column out on this, or it should be coming out, that just points out that, so how I've criticized the right for, a lot of Republicans are there saying, well, everything is a scam, everything's a political prosecution, because very clearly this case right now against Trump is a political prosecution. It's
sure.
Like, though the legal system is corrupt, everything's corrupt, right? That's too broad. The left criticizes Republicans for that, and at the same time tries to discredit the Supreme Court because they don't like its current ideological makeup. They don't like the opinions coming out of the Supreme Court. So Chuck Schumer's threatened them. Like we've seen this from the left, where they behave extremely poorly, and then they criticize the right and say, see how you're undermining the legal system? Guys, do you know that all the Democrats have been talking about how this might not be a legitimate court? This Supreme Court,
right.
No, you can't trust them.
Because it's Trump appointed.
Right. Schumer said you'll reap the whirlwind or something like that for doing their job. And to me, this is politicians saying when things don't go our way or we don't like something, then it's not legitimate. And that's just not true.
They are attempting to fracture the very system of government that they simultaneously claim to be defending.
Right. Yes, 100%.
They're like, oh, Trump is this huge threat to democracy, and oh, by the way, the Supreme Court is illegitimate.
Yeah. You want to know what a threat to democracy is right now? The political class. Because
absolutely.
They are saying, we alone can be trusted. Don't trust these institutions. Don't trust these systems and structures. Trust us, because we're the good guy, the one you like, which is all politicians have ever said. And so that's why you should be extremely careful anytime they're making these broad generalizations, because guess what? In America, in a lot of courtrooms, you can get a very fair trial. There's prosecutors that are really good, that try to make good decisions and don't put people in jail for no reason. There's certainly some bad ones. Our system, our structures appointed by the Constitution, they actually work. And hey, going to church on Sunday is pretty good too.
We've been accused of blasphemy on the membersnutrition.com super text line.
I just said you should go to church on Sunday.
No. Somebody accused us of blasphemy.
What did we do?
6830 said blasphemy is a turnoff. I'm shutting off my radio now. Well, we'll never know because they shut off their radio. So,
well, and I'm not trying to turn you guys on right now. We're talking politics here. It's a little weird.
There's a lot of conversation about the curse words that we won't be able to get into, but we'll get into something with Brian Wilson in a moment.